Hell Night is a gothic horror slasher that was released in 1981 and directed by Tom DeSimone. And this stars Linda Blair herself, from famous for The Exorcist, obviously, when she was a lot younger than she is here. And we have a bunch of other horror alumni. Not all of them that I'm familiar with, not all of them that I've seen in other films. However, with watching other reviews, I've noticed that they're in other horror films. I think one of the characters in here is in Friday the 13th Part 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Peter Barton. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. That's the fourth one. However, I didn't recognize any of the other characters outside of Linda Blair from anything else. So, this is a film that's talked about certainly in the horror scene, and it's definitely got its fans. Although a lot of things that I hear about this film is that because it's a slasher, it doesn't pay a ton of slasher tropes, especially in like a lot of the kills department, but a lot of nudity department especially. This is one of those slashers that's known for having like completely sans nudity, none at all. And it doesn't bother me personally because you still got a sexy Linda Blair in here, and she is cute as hell. I mean, the amount of cute this girl is in this film and the amount of sexy she is at the same time is just jaw dropping, and it's so nice to see Linda Blair in this kind of role where she's wearing this gorgeous Halloween costume, and I don't know what she's supposed to be, but she looks Victorian kind of thing. Everybody in this film looks pretty Victorian. I think one guy dresses as Robin Hood, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's what he looks like, and he carries an archery bow, and it's a gimmick throughout the entire thing that he just keeps doing archery every once in a while. But basically, what we have going on here is this film opens up at a frat party, and it opens up literally with the best slasher scream I've ever heard. It's just this girl, like, face forward to the camera going, ah, like screeching as loud as possible, and you think it's a horror scene, right? But then the camera pulls away, and you see that it's a frat party, so she's actually screaming in joy, kind of thing. Like getting drunk and getting wasted and being at a frat party essentially. This frat party is at this what do you call those things, fraternities. There you go, I had a mind blank there for a second. Alpha Sigma Rho is the fraternity that this house party is taking place at. And there's 4 pledges, so we have this whole pledge thing going on as happens in these frat parties and these friggin' fraternities. And 4 pledges have to stay the night at this manor called Garth Manor, and so apparently this place is haunted, and it's this whole thing. Literally, this guy named Peter and his buddy named Scott, and then this girl named May basically take these 4 pledges to this manor, and I'm telling you, like, they make this entire deal of it where there's this parade of cars, and they all got like torches, and the flames are like this high, and they're in the sunroofs of the cars, and there's like 12 cars lined up, and they're just parading to this fucking manor. And these 4 pledges basically have to stay in this haunted manor for the night. I think it's like 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever it is, and if they can make it till morning without running away, then they can be part of the sorority house or whatnot. So the 4 pledges are Marty, played by Linda Blair. Her name's Marty in the film. This guy named Jeff, who basically has a crush on Marty, and they spend a lot of time together in the manor. And then you have this guy named Seth. And Seth is the guy dressed as Robin Hood, and he's very kind of jock looking. He has like the surfer hair, and he's kind of more egotistical, macho kind of guy. And then you have this girl named Denise, who I'm assuming is like an exchange student, or she's coming from the UK to the United States because she has a British accent, and she is, according to, I'm assuming, from Britain, because of her accent. And these 4 people are put in the house, and the gates are locked up. For whatever reason, Peter hands one of the guys, I think either Jeff or Seth, a gun in case they want to shoot the lock, because there's a padlock on the gate, and instead of climbing the gate, because the gate is spiked, if they climb the fence and try to get out that way, they can be like severely hurt and penetrated with a fucking spike. So one of them is given a gun in case they want to shoot the lock and escape, essentially. But this manor and this huge, like, massive gothic house is the best part of the film. And I just have to mention the amount of candles that are used in this film. I am not going to be surprised if it's in the thousands of candles used during the production of this film, because I'm sure candles went out and all that. But not only do like the characters carry gothic looking lanterns like that, which sometimes have 8 candles on them, but they're just sitting all over the place. And this manor has no electricity, so it's just lit by candlelight. But it looks so fucking beautiful and gothic, and just soaks in that atmosphere, in that rainy night, spooky, old dark house style. And that's what makes this film a 4.5 out of 5 for me. The no tits thing doesn't bother me, although tits are nice, and I obviously love seeing nudity in slasher films. Slasher films call for nudity, but this film has so much to offer outside of that. This group of Jeff and Scott and May, who left these 4 pledges in the house, they have all these pranks set up. They have all these like little speakers that will make like spooky noises, like ooh, and ghostly stuff. They have these like projectors that will make like a hologram of a ghost. At least I'm assuming it's a hologram. It is suggested that this place might actually be haunted as the film goes along. But mainly it just turns into a slasher story where you do have this, I'm gonna say person, but I don't really know what the monster or the creature is. It's definitely a creature of some kind of undead entity, but I think, I don't think it's human necessarily, but I can't say what it is. I'm just like, I don't know at the end of the day what it is. It's some kind of undead thing, and it does resemble a lot of like Wolfman qualities, because the creature, whatever the hell it is very hairy, very like all over his face, and it's just wiry hair hanging all over the place, and it starts to pick off, starting with the people who left these pledges in the house first, and then it starts to go after the pledges themselves. But it's this really tall, very tall creature, human looking, but very Wolfman in their features. So there's great kills in here, but my favorite is just the mansion. The mansion is just spectacular. But you got this Scythe kill, Skith, however you say it. Yeah, it's May that gets killed. If I'm not mistaken, it's May that gets killed with the Skith. Or no, she doesn't get killed with the Skith. She gets dragged down by this Wolfman looking creature. She gets like pulled into some kind of hole, and maybe she got killed with the Skith. I know she's the first kill, but for some reason I know she gets dragged down, but it's blanking on me how she got killed exactly. I know that Scott gets hung on a noose, and he just literally falls down and gets hung on a noose. And one of my favorite deaths is, I believe, Denise. Seth is basically banging her in her bed, and then he goes to the washroom, but when he comes back, it's just her head on the pillow. But for some reason, he doesn't refer to her as Denise. He doesn't refer to her as Denise. He refers to her as like the sorority chick. He's like, the sorority chick's dead. The sorority chick is, her head is in my pillow. I'm getting the fuck out of here, man. I'm just leaving. Fuck all this. And he runs, and he doesn't even give a shit about shooting the lock. Actually, he tries to shoot the lock, but apparently the gun had blanks in it, so that kind of makes the whole thing about giving them a gun make a lot more sense, is that they're handed a gun with blanks in it. So he can't shoot the lock, so he just climbs up, and lo and behold, he makes it. So he makes it over the fence. He doesn't, chop his balls off with the gate spike, and he runs away. And then you have him go to the police station to ask for help, and the cops don't believe a word he says, because the cops have bad history with this Alpha Sigma Rho fraternity, and they just don't take anything this guy is saying seriously. So this guy actually goes to the back of the police station, actually steals a rifle, actually holds some pedestrian at gunpoint with his rifle to steal his car, ends up stealing the car, and ends up coming back to the sorority, or not the sorority house, sorry, the mansion with the car. And he gets there, and then he finds his way back in, because apparently the gate, when he comes back, has this hole in it, so he's able to just like get through, which is just beyond convenient, because before he was trying to shoot the lock and climb the fence, but he, I guess he was in distraught. But it's just funny how he got back, and then he's like looking around, and then all of a sudden, so conveniently, there's this gap in the fence that he can just crawl through without any issues or any struggle. It's funny too, Marty, the character that Linda Blair plays, at the beginning of the film, she's talking to Jeff, and they're always having this flirty banter. I actually like their chemistry a lot. Their chemistry made a lot of sense. And she mentions that she's a mechanic, or she knows mechanic through her dad or through somebody, probably boyfriend, whatever. But she mentions that she's a mechanic. So when she's trying to escape and starts having car troubles, she's able to like go to the front, lift the hood, fix the front of the car real quick, and then get back in and roll away again, which was pretty female empowerment and strong badass woman kind of thing that happened. That was funny to see, and that was clever. I would say that the best word to use on that one is clever. And then I loved the whole like climax ending scene where she's trying to get out of the fence and she's trying to crash through it, and then that creature, whatever that wolf guy is, that was after them, picking them one by one, is on top of the car, and it ends so well, and I loved like everything that happened with what I wrote down as the fence murder, where she like crashed into the fence, and then the broken fence just plows the monster on top, and then he just dies, and then she walks off into the sunset. The climax and the conclusion of the movie I really, really appreciated. It's just a fun haunted manor film, I would say, and but with slasher elements mixed in too. It's a really good time, and I think this is one of the better made early 80s blending genre films that I've seen. It's got funny kills, it's got memorable kills, it's got memorable characters in my opinion, and it's one of the perfect films for Halloween, and it's definitely a strong recommendation of mine. I really wanted to get one of these deep dive reviews done before before I start my 31 Days of Horror. For anybody who watches me regularly, I haven't been posting a ton in the last like 2 weeks because I've just been working on 31 Days of Horror. So if you've seen my past 31 Days of Horror, you know that there's a lot of goodies and a lot of secrets coming your way, and I definitely put a ton of effort into those videos. So it pretty much takes most of my time, and I don't have time to review modern films or deep dives in stuff that I own. But I really wanted to at least get one done. So I don't know how the editing is going to be on this one, because, like I said, I'm pressed for time. But definitely wanted to talk about Hell Night at least, or something at least. And there's probably more coming because I got a head start on 31 Days of Horror, so I got a ton done already. But we'll see how many of these I can do through October, as well as 31 Days of Horror. And that's basically it. Hell Night is a lot of fun. I strongly recommend this film. It's a great Scream Factory release. And for all the hate that it gets, in my opinion, I don't think it... I think there's a lot that what it doesn't have, it makes up for in other kind of areas of the film. So that's really all I have on Hell Night. I have a lot of fun with it, so if it seems up your alley, go check it out, find it streaming somewhere, or go by the Scream Factory because it is a hell of a release, especially with a slipcover. I don't know how many of these are left, but they look nice, basically, especially with the original poster going with it. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I will be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on this channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.